On this week's episode, we have a packed out show for you. You're going to love how much stuff is in this episode. The first topic, making the case for why you should use Arch.
Yes.
We aren't. Ryan is specifically
We're
the one
all
making the case.
that case.
Then we have our holiday gift guide for you and so much more. Welcome to Destination Linux, where we discuss the latest news, hot topics, gaming, mobile, and all things open source and Linux. My name is Michael, and joining me are Santa's little helpers, Jill and Ryan.
If I go and check the naughty list, who do you think is higher on that list, Michael or Ryan?
Michael, 100%.
Michael.
Well, as someone who loves to be high on lists, this is not that I would not. No, not this one.
Not this one? You're going to
Not
get
this
one
one.
up? Well, I hope that I'm going to get a Steam Deck from Santa Claus. The OLED version, of course. If
Oh,
he gives
okay.
me the other version, I'm going to be mad at Santa. We're not going to be good. If that's the case. I want the OLED version.
You're very
Very
picky with You're very picky with what you want from Santa.
Santa, listen, we got to wait for Santa all year. He can get me an OLED version of the Steam Deck. That's all I'm saying.
There you go. And
That's
the
fair.
white
That's
one.
fair. Yeah, the white one, the limited edition one.
Yeah.
For sure. Also, we're only one show away from episode 400. We have
Woohoo!
big things in store for you on episode 400, so be sure to check it out. Now let's get this show on the road toward Destination Linux.
Our feedback this week comes from Matt, and they have this to say. In your latest episode, you mentioned wanting a convenient tool to use AI on a Linux desktop. And in the episode prior, you extolled the awesomeness of Hugging Face, but he mentioned Hugging Chat here. Well, this isn't AI on the desktop directly. If you go into the Firefox settings in the Firefox Labs section, so you go Firefox settings, go to Firefox Labs section, you can enable an AI chatbot in the sidebar of Firefox. So when I got your message, Matt, I was like, nuh-uh. And then I went there and I looked, and sure enough, it's there. It is very... Why are you laughing, Michael? Oh, no, you're muted again. We've muted Michael on purpose this episode so that he can't talk, which is perfect. So
Yes.
I don't know why you would mute me like that. That is very rude. I mean, I know I control the mixer myself, but I can't believe you would do that.
yeah, well, I'm trying to give people an early Christmas present.
Of muting me? Wow.
Yeah.
Rude. You definitely Matt, although not this Matt from Linux Out Loud. He would appreciate that.
Well, this Matt goes on to say they give you options of Anthropic Claude, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Hugging Chat, and LeChat Mistral. 2 to 3 weeks ago, I found this setting, and after a little research, opted for Hugging Chat as it seemed the most open source, and was then delighted to hear your episode on Hugging Chat in the next episode. At first, I added the sidebar button on the toolbar so I could use it. If it puts you in the bookmarks, then you can use the drop down to get to the chat. But recently, I found Firefox also has an experimental sidebar, which is much slicker and, for me, easier to use with the chatbot. You can enable it in the About config with sidebar.revamp. It also has the vertical tab support, which is nice. And now the sidebar button in the toolbar will expand and collapse the sidebar. Thank you for the great show, and I love your faces. No, nobody ever tells us they love our faces back. That's a
Oh,
first.
so nice.
Thank you, Matt. Love your face.
Hugging face. Back to Matt.
And so this is really cool, Matt. I truly did not know. Firefox. Oh my gosh, this company is so crazy. Like I feel like they advertise all the wrong things. Like, this is a really cool thing that they've added in here. This is a really neat feature. I think they should be highlighting it. I get that it's part of their labs section, but they need to kind of show that they're moving things forward, that they're keeping up with the competition, and this is a really cool thing that they have going there, and they should be talking about it a lot more. It's sad that you have to find out through it by accident. Even Matt said, he's just going through settings and kind of found it. So very cool thing. Definitely recommend people go there and check it out. And Matt gave the tip of the week this week too, right there in there, which is pretty nice.
He sure did. Thank you so much, Matt, for letting us know and letting the Destination Linux community know. I actually had noticed recently the Firefox AI chatbot in Firefox Labs, but hadn't tried it out yet till your suggestion. And it is fantastic. It's awesome. Yeah. It's so nice.
I saw it too. And I just kind of felt like, I don't know. Firefox has been doing stuff weird so much so late that I just didn't bother. But after this message we got, it was definitely something like, okay, well, I'll try it, and it is pretty cool. And you were right, Ryan. It's kind of like one of those things where like they're finally doing something interesting, and they don't tell anybody about it.
Nobody knows
because they're super good at marketing.
Don't worry, Mozilla. We got this for you. We'll tell people about it.
We'll take care of it.
Aw.
Also, there's a couple episodes ago where we pointed out how you're doing things badly, but we'll take care of this one.
I also noticed, Michael, that you were trying to talk a second ago once again, and you
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Your
It did not
lips
happen.
were moving if you watched the
Did
video
not
version.
happen. No, because I'm going to have Wendy edit it out where you don't see me talking at that moment,
So,
and you'll just be talking random
I'm
nonsense.
just curious, did you get a new thumb button to mute yourself or something, and you don't have strong enough thumbs to unmute, or why is it not working? Was there a new setup you have that you're not sharing with us? I'm curious. I don't mean to do this to you live because I don't want to put you on the spot.
You
know me.
100% do mean to do it live because you want to put me on the spot. That's your MO. But
Your words.
no, it's not a thumb issue. I can easily press the button. It's a mental issue of remembering to press the button, and that's
It's just weird that you've never had this problem before today. Like I feel like.
Well, I have a lot of different, we're actually doing that holiday gift guide we talked about in the intro, and I have a bunch of stuff on my desk to be ready to show, and it's kind of in the way as a clutter, and I'm trying not to hit it, and I've bumped it a few times, so I've been muting stuff so I don't bump anything, and that's really what's going on. So
well, listen, we have a very exciting announcement. Not that Michael has figured out finally how to use his mute button. That's not the announcement, but that would be exciting.
I just did it properly.
There he goes again.
I did it. I've got it perfectly set up.
You got it.
That was on purpose. I mean, I had to prove that it was working,
Well, we know
so what's really exciting, Ryan?
Well, episode 400. So to celebrate, we're going to do a couple of cool things. So you want to put this on your calendar right now. Go boop, 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 boop on your phone or your tablet or your computer. Whatever sound it makes, it's very similar.
And if you use swiping, you won't be able to do the boop, boop, boop thing, but you still should put it on.
Or
there we go. Boop, boop. I like it.
Either one. We're going to be recording on Wednesday, December 11th at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Now, if you get there at 6:30 and we're not live, that's just because Michael's late. Wait a couple more minutes. It will go live very soon, as soon as he's done fixing his hair. And the thing is,
did you say the hair thing because I had just run my hands through my hair just then?
Maybe it may have been a subconscious thing, that
I triggered you for saying.
Yeah,
but
this will be live on YouTube.
I will be the one doing the stream. That's why. So it's all on me to do that. That's the only reason.
People. He literally clicks a button like it's.
It's going to be more than that. I have to set up whole new scenes for this because we haven't done OBS streaming in so many.
Jill, do you remember the scenes?
It's been a while.
So I have to get more scenes. For those who don't know, I used to have like 87 scenes for Destination Linux. So we're going to have to even more now. I'm probably going to simplify it quite a bit, but I still have to set it up.
He says that, but he's so shoe on head that his simplification is always complex. So sometime between 6:30 and 11:30 Central Time, we will be live.
Well, okay. In fairness, so Ryan says my stuff is shoe on head because I do things too complicated. But Ryan's so simple that it's just kind of lazy, where he just takes like a phone, puts it on like a piece of cardboard box that he made up, turn it into a tripod, and just points that at the screen. And that's this way he does capture.
It works, man. You don't need special magic for this face. You know what I mean?
That's true. Hard to argue.
All right. Listen, we're ruining the whole celebration here, Michael.
Are
the
we?
celebration is
I think people enjoy
live.
Our banter.
This is going to be live on YouTube for everyone, not just patrons. Right. Everyone is invited to watch the show live. So if you're watching this the day this episode releases, then the live show is in just 2 days.
That's right.
2 days. Reminds me of a horror movie where it's like 7 hours or something. Like, what is that movie? Do you remember? The Ring or something like that? Anyways, let me know in the comment. Maybe our patron AI chat can let us know what movie that was.
Actually, we have added more. We've added more pieces of data for our model of the AI chat right now.
Yeah, our AI chat is off the hook. Good. It's so good. Also, we're going to be doing some giveaways, which is exciting. And we're going to do a couple of giveaways. Michael, you want to tell people about the giveaways?
We're going to be doing
Yeah.
Steam gift cards, right, Pip? So anybody who's a gamer or wants to get into gaming, you can get a gift card to get whatever game you want. So you get a Steam gift card, you get a Steam gift card. We can't afford that actually. So like a few people are going to get a Steam gift card.
We're just $4 worth or what?
I mean, I'm saying we can't afford it. So if we don't tell them exactly how much it is, then it'll be a surprise, you know?
Gotcha.
So I was trying to help. I was trying to give the element of surprise, and you're trying to ruin it.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to be giving away Steam gift cards, but the biggest giveaway is we're bringing back one of your all's favorite segments on the planet. And if you don't know what that is, if you're like, I don't know what the favorite segment is, because they're all my favorite. I agree with you. They're all good. This one universally is everyone's favorite. And the hint is we haven't done it in a while. And it's coming back on episode 400. You don't want to miss it. It involves Jill. So that should be like enough reason for you to show up.
I like how you're saying I'm not going to give you the give it away, and then you're just giving so many hints that if they've ever watched a single episode.
Anyways. All right, so that's it. Episode 400 is happening next week. Mark your calendars down sometime around 6:30 Central Time. We will be live.
100% 6:30 Central Time. Guaranteed.
Something will be live
without question. Exactly. The live stream will happen whether we're on the stream or not. That's different. But it will start then.
Oh man. All right. So this week, Michael, I was going through different articles on Linux and open source and everything, and I started seeing all of this discussion about Arch Linux popping up. And it got me thinking, like, Arch Linux, obviously, if you were to ask me what's my favorite distro of all time, I'm going to tell you Arch. And most people who have an IQ over 140 would say the same thing. But I want to talk about some of the reasons why Arch is so amazing. Number one, bleeding edge. So you are going to get the latest and greatest updates.
And it's called bleeding for a reason, because you'll have pain.
I like the fact there's no hand holding. Just the latest of everything, minimal supervision means you get new hardware, then it's going to be supported, and it's supported in the kernel. It's going to work in Arch.
And if something updates and breaks, then it's on you.
But it doesn't break that often. Rarely does it ever break, No,
I think that's you're not a great example of being able to say that. We've talked about this in the past. He is the person who gets default of everything, including XFCE, which even the XFCE developers do not use as default. So there's no way.
I think I went an entire year on Arch without a single issue.
Did you change anything?
No, I mean, everything was default from whatever I installed. But that's one of the things that I love about Arch is that you build it to match your system. And you get to pick and choose everything from the start with no bloat. The drivers you want, the file manager you want, the DE you want, everything is a la carte, like a really fancy restaurant, The mashed potatoes, you want mashed potatoes? Oh, they don't come with a steak. That's another $14.
That's true. It's like a fancy restaurant that serves snails and frog legs.
What fancy restaurants do you go to? What is that? Like Cracker Barrel of Alabama or something?
No, that's a French cuisine delicacy. What are you talking about? Escargot?
Snails and frog legs?
Yeah.
Like snails, sure, but frog legs?
Why would snails be sure? Why is frog legs bad and snails okay? What are you talking about?
I don't know. I mean, they decide, right? Like the roaches of the ocean are the most expensive, the lobsters and stuff. That's just
exactly. It doesn't matter. The level of food that gets Michelin star, no one knows why.
Yeah. Second, you have the AUR, users curated software repository. The community makes things that don't support Linux work on Linux. They do other stuff too, but that's one of the coolest things about the AUR is all the hackers who are trying to get like the software a company doesn't support Linux. They make stuff work. You can usually find everything in the AUR. And of course, we would be doing a disservice if we didn't mention the incredible edible Arch Wiki. If you print it out, you could eat
edible.
it.
Edible.
You're going to eat your incredible edible eggs. I just did a play on it,
Yes, the incredible edible Arch.
There you go.
What is that from? What is the Incredible Edible? That's a thing.
It's from eggs. It was a commercial.
A commercial.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like the Incredible Edible Egg. And then it was all the egg farmers got together and decided they wanted a commercial on TV, I guess, or something.
All right.
The eggs weren't popular enough.
I like how they had to explain their edible.
That's true. But the Arch Wiki is amazing information. Even if you don't use Arch, right? The wiki has helped me solve problems with other distros in the past because it's just a plethora of information.
I'll give you that. It's quite valuable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it would be organized a little better in things, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. It's an amazing resource. And finally, it's fast, like blazing fast because it's minimal. And unless, of course, you choose not to make it minimal because you can do everything you want with it. But it's just very minimal. You don't have any extra bloatware that you didn't choose to install yourself. And it's tailored to your machine. So you don't have any additional drivers or anything else that you don't need. So that's my case for the top reasons of why you should use Arch. But we're not here just to talk about why I love Arch. We want to know why Michael thinks it's the greatest distro. But before we get to that, they also have an installer upgrade. Which is really
have
cool.
an installer upgrade.
Yeah,
That's true.
It's very nice.
So this is what's exciting to me about this is Arch. The biggest downfall is it's a pain to install. Like, I don't care how many times you've done it. It's a little bit of a pain to install compared to a GUI installer. It takes a lot more time and you really have to know what you're doing because a lot of the stuff it has you throwing commands in there, not going to make sense to a new user. Not even going to make sense to necessarily an experienced user either, because there's a lot of stuff and configurations and things and commands it's having you throw in there if you walk through the Arch install guide that are not something you would typically use, like shrooting and that type of stuff into drives and running all these various commands to configure stuff. So Arch created an Arch installer, and I believe we're on the 3.0 or 2.0 version. Can our AI
I think
confirm?
3.0 was just came out.
3.0. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 3.0 version just released, and if you haven't tried Arch in a while, I highly recommend you check out the Arch Linux installer. It's so good. I was 1 minute late to our pre-show, and that's because I decided to install Arch using the Arch installer 15 minutes before the show started.
Uh-oh.
And I have Arch fully functional with a KDE desktop. And it only took me 1 minute over 50, so 16 minutes total to have a complete and operational system. Now, if you were to do Arch manually, it would take a long time. Usually it would take me, I think, even when I was doing it on a regular basis, like 35 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
So the fact is, the Arch installer is just you type in Arch installer when you're boot to the Arch ISO, and it will take you through all the steps you need to configure your keyboard, language, time zone, all that stuff. Partition your drive, the file system you want to use. It does it all. And then you also choose a desktop there. And when you reboot, boom, you are in a full Arch install. Michael, how cool is that?
It's very cool. I mean, it actually reminds me of a time where on a previous episode, a little while back, I have no idea when, Ryan had said that the only thing that's missing from Arch is a good installer. And they have made an installer for that. And it's not necessarily like, it's more like the Arch way of doing an installer. Like I get, they don't want to do a full blown GUI installer. It's Arch. I get it. So they made a terminal style TUI or terminal UI.
TUI. That's
TUI.
cute.
Yeah.
For that's
we
actually
get a t-shirt. I use
that's a real term. It's a real.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a real term.
Dude, we have to
Terminal
have a
user
t-shirt
interface
that says like,
TUIs.
Yeah.
I'm an expert in TUIs. Like, that's so cool, man.
Or one FUI, just use TUI.
And yeah, the Arch installer is pretty excellent. I had used it about a year ago and installed a Arch installation, and it was fast. I was so happy.
It's actually gotten much faster because they changed the way they're using incurses now, so it's even faster than what it was. There is a little bit of delay depending on what you're doing. So sometimes you have to push enter and then wait a bit for it to load the next piece, but that's not that much. It's depending on your hardware and that sort of thing. So sometimes it's a little slow, but by slow, I mean like 4 or 5 seconds. But other things are just instantly, once you activate it, it goes into it. So I was kind of surprised that there was even any delay because it's all basically just text. But there are a lot of cool things that they do. They give you the option to choose between ButterFS and XFS and Extended 4 and all that sort of stuff. But they also give you the options to control your partitioning customized or use the default that they offer. And there's a lot of pieces that I felt like, it's something that's been missing in Arch for a while. If someone wanted to, introduce Arch to someone that didn't require going through the big installation guide. But I also found it funny that when you go to the Arch website and you click on the installation guide, it's still the old one. It doesn't even mention the Arch install whatsoever.
Okay, I'm so glad you mentioned it. It was so annoying to go to the Arch install after seeing this article, looking for the instructions to use the Arch install GUI, and it doesn't even mention it. Like it doesn't exist at all, which is just odd to me. Like, I don't know why that is a thing. They should be promoting the Arch Linux installer because it's a very awesome tool that somebody spent a ton of time making work.
Oh yeah.
And it makes Arch just so much. I don't care if you become such an expert, you can do a regular Arch install in 16 minutes. It's still nicer just to click things. And by the way, they made the mouse enabled now in the latest version. So you can literally click things to like select the boxes and stuff, which is really cool. Use your cursor to select items. So, and they fixed a bunch of other bugs and things. So if you've used it while in the past, like Jill used the earlier version of it, maybe you saw some bugs and problems with it. I can tell you this one went through flawlessly without issues. It was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Even, set up what you want to use as your network manager right from the GUI. So you've got Wi-Fi and internet.
And it also gives you recommendations stuff too.
Yeah, lots of recommendations. Whoever did it did a fantastic TUI. The best TUI I've ever seen.
Fantastic TUI. But I will say that even though it's much better and much easier to do using the Arch install, it's still Arch. It's still not the beginner-friendly distro.
I like what you're thinking.
I did not say that. But it's not for beginners. And when I say beginners, I mean people who don't know much about computers. They're just switching over to Linux and that sort of stuff. And for those, because some people confuse the word beginner with new user, and a new user could also be a power user. Like that, new to Linux and new to Arch are different things. And also beginners are different things. So when I say beginner friendly, I mean people who who would not expect to have to run commands at all, much less try to understand what a partition is and all that sort of stuff. Now, the Arch install does make it easier for them, but it's not just a simple, easy process for them. They still have to know what the stuff is in order, like they have to research everything to figure it out versus, like an Ubuntu install where it's just like click next, make your choices and keep clicking next. That's beginner friendly. And Arch is not meant to be that. So I know that.
A beginner that knows that's not beginner friendly would benefit greatly from doing an Arch install, even in a VM, if you're not going to use it full time, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend either, because it does require some maintenance and things. But if you do it in a VM, you're going to learn about all the components of Linux, like desktop environments and file managers and all of these different things really well.
I'd argue that the Arch install system removes some of that. It's going to teach you a little bit.
You still have to select. Like if you see it's like file system and it's got 5 choices there and you've never done anything with Linux before and you're just exploring like what is BTRFS? What is ext4? What is like, you're going to be learning all of that. Then it's going to be like, do you want a desktop environment? What do you mean? Windows always comes with a desktop environment. And then you're going to have all these choices that you're going to have to research. Like you're going to learn stuff in there. And then network management. But
you don't have to, because they could just pick whatever the top option is. Because that's what.
Yeah.
Whereas the old Archway that kind of forces you to learn this sort of things. So I feel like there's a little bit
following a guide.
Yeah.
I mean, cutting and pasting crap in that they.
But that guide is also like very minimal in how much it offers you. You still have to research quite a bit. So I'm not saying that it's necessarily bad. I'm just saying that I think it's a little bit less than it used to be. But it also offers more stuff that you might not even heard of to look into. So that's kind of cool too. So like Hyperland is an option in Arch install, for example.
Yep. It's Jill, like you use Arch, right? Yeah. Michael, we talked about beginners, it's not good for beginners. So Michael, we try to steer him away from it. But Jill, you're a big Arch.
That's a fair hit. Yeah. I like that.
And I use it every day on my Steam Deck and I love it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk, because I
But
knew Michael was going to say
Arch too.
I knew Michael was going to say it's not the same thing. And Michael, let's talk about that for a second. So the Steam Deck, the most popular handheld gaming device, period, right now. Everybody's tried to go after them. You've got ROG, you've got all these big gaming companies creating their portable version, and Legion and others, Legion Go, I think it's called. And when it comes to sales, the Steam Deck dominates, right? It's dominated the whole portable gaming industry. And they made a decision which was crazy. I'm talking about Valve here. It was crazy even for someone like me who loves Arch. When they were like, we're going to create a gaming system and we're going to put Linux on it. That, first of all, freaking crazy. Love it. Like a good crazy. Love it. And then they're like, and we're going to use Arch. And everyone's like, what the heck? Because if you use Arch, you know it requires a lot of updates. It's rolling. It's constantly getting updates and new stuff. So when we talk about, Michael, that the Steam Deck's really not Arch, it is, but it's not. Why is it not?
It's got, so basically
Valve
the way I like to describe
curated.
it, it's Valve curated, but it's more sanitized. It's Arch sanitized. So like the basically with an Arch, when you have an Arch system, and when someone says I use Arch, and if they're using something that's based on Arch, I would tell them that they're not using Arch because they're making a claim that is very different from what they did. And I'm not saying that it's not an elitist thing. It's just like when you tell people you're using Arch, they're expecting you to know more than you might, depending on what you used. So if you're using Endeavor, which is awesome, or one of the gaming specific ones that are based on Arch, also still cool, but at the same time, not the same thing. But with SteamOS, what they did was take Arch as the base and then essentially freeze it, and then create two independent working systems, like an A and a B system. And then when you're using your Steam Deck, you have a running system. Let's say you're using A. And then there's an update to SteamOS. Well, they do that on the B side, make sure everything's working, and then they switch you to the B side if it works. And then they start the same process over again on the other side. If it doesn't work, it just sends you back to A so that the other one can be fixed. So that's a way to roll
back, like ButterFS.
It's kind of like a rollback, or just kind of like a fallback to working state.
Yeah.
So in like a rollback, you have to actually do the process of changing things back. Whereas this one, they just say, okay, this didn't work. Let's go back to this. And it immediately goes back to that. I feel like that is really the only way they could have possibly. I think Valve was very smart about it because it's the only way they could make Arch work in that structure, because Arch is very cool and it gives you a lot of value. And for a developer of a distribution, it gives you a lot of options because you can have so much up-to-date stuff. But at the same time, there's also a too fast process. And Valve is kind of compensating for that by doing an immutable system that has multiple layers. And then also they're doing it where it's not actually updating that much. Yes, it's based on Arch, but it does not run the Arch model whatsoever. I think some of the components are like a year old, which in the Arch world is insane. So it seems to work for the Steam Deck. So I would say it's Arch based is correct, but calling it Arch is a bit of a stretch.
You get a lot of the Arch capabilities. You can still enable the AUR. You can still dock it, right, and have a full running Arch desktop. And then you can
enable the AUR,
it.
but that's like a developer mode, and it's not recommended.
But
and you could cause issues by doing so. That's the kind of
look
the thing.
at you, Mr. Ruleful. Oh, don't do anything fun because you might get hurt, Michael.
I'm saying if you're going to spend $500 on an appliance console and then you do something that you install an application and it breaks it because you pulled it from the AUR,
it's not going to break the hardware. You just re-image it. You just re-image it. Listen.
With what?
What do you mean? With the Steam Deck OS? You just
do they have a recovery system? You can't do that. You can't download the Steam. You cannot download SteamOS.
Of course you can if you have the Steam Deck.
You can?
Yeah. I don't know.
Why are you saying if it's...
Hey, Patron AI, can you
re-image
your Steam Deck?
Yeah, I've never needed to, so.
I've only ever done like the flat pack stuff on the Steam Deck. I've never done like an actual like AUR building thing. But what I'm saying is that SteamOS itself, SteamOS 3, is not available to download, so you can't put it on there. And if
Michael, you're wrong. Our AI has come back and said, yes, you can with a link. So it is absolutely available. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and they are actually
Where's the
gonna
link?
make
What do you?
They sent it to me personally, but I'll go.
Well, that doesn't count. I need to be
counts.
sent to all of us. Okay, they just did that.
And good
Yeah.
news, SteamOS is coming for all devices.
But
very
you can't
soon.
do it. You can't do it. Your whole argument was stupid, Michael, and I win. Yes. Yes. You
so
suck.
SteamOS 3.0 is coming. Yeah, for all hardware. They've already put out an announcement.
Man.
You
look at
can't
that.
do it. However, you kind of can, because this is not the Steam Deck OS image necessarily. It's a recovery image or repair image. So you still can go
Yeah.
back and fix it.
Oh,
but it's a
don't
little
try
different.
to split hairs.
It's a
when
little
you're wrong.
It's a
different.
little different.
Listen, our patron AI never fails. Never fails. It's the best AI in existence. People talk about, oh, I like ChatGPT. I like Grok. I like this. No, our patron AI is the greatest AI that's
Yeah.
ever existed. Look how fast it was.
All I'm
Yeah,
saying.
thank you, Alex.
All I'm saying is
He did it in
actually.
real time.
All right, so we've covered that the Steam Deck, it is Arch. You can play with it. Unlike Michael, who's like
And
a
you can
grandma,
also
who's
re-image
like,
it,
don't go
Ryan. Did you know
outside.
that?
You might skin your knee. You can have fun and reimage your machine. But
I
that's
just
not
said you
what
could reimage it. What are you talking about?
that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the fact that I think because of the partnerships that Valve has made with Steam, Valve has made with Arch, and the work they're doing together, because they also, as you know, are doing a collaboration. Tremendous boost to both companies, making gaming better overall on Linux. And
Or
Arch is getting a new
company
service
slash
infrastructure
volunteer project.
and secure signing enclave that's going to be written by Valve. They're partnering together. I think when you look at the big picture here, Arch has an opportunity to be like, it's already popular, but I'm talking about one of the premier standout distros out there. And I think these partnerships and things being done by Valve is going to propel it to that point if the Arch community and the developers wanted to go there, because they've got so much opportunity to deliver the best desktop experience out there. And I've made the case, the AUR, the gaming, the hardware enablement, all of that, of why I think that's so. But what I want to ask you guys is not whether Arch is the greatest. We've already established that. What I want to ask you,
No, we didn't.
Michael, is what would it take to make Arch the biggest distro in Linux? What is it missing today to make that happen?
Well, I want to see what Jill thinks first.
Yeah, so an easy to use GUI installer, a classic one like what we have in Ubuntu, or like the other Arch-based Linux distros that I love. EndeavourOS is actually my favorite Arch distro.
Probably the closest
And
to real Arch.
yeah, it's really great. And Manjaro and the Manjaro Linux installer is really great.
Very good. Yeah.
And, having several ISOs with default and pre-configured desktop managers like the other major distros have, a visual tutorial that has step-by-step instructions at startup, and an automatic update system that doesn't need manual intervention. Now, mind you, I do like the classic way of installing Arch because I'm an early Linux user. I started with Slackware back in the early 90s.
So you're like,
And
Arch
then-
installs easy compared
Yeah,
to
yeah. And then
Yeah,
Debian.
compared to Slackware, or
Yeah, absolutely. And but with the nice thing like Debian did is they still have their TUI installer, their terminal user interface installer, as well as a new GUI installer to make it easier for people to install. So that's a direction Arch could go. They could have both.
Well,
Why
it's
not?
interesting you went with the GUI installer, because I think that definitely would make it more approachable for a lot of people. I feel like the Arch community and developers, and I hope I'm wrong about this, but I feel like, I don't know, it reminds me of tattoos. There's this new thing in tattoos where you can get numbing cream to put on your body or whatever, so you don't feel the tattoo, and then you get the tattoo, and then afterwards the numbing cream wears off, right? You didn't have to go through all the pain of a tattoo. But a lot of tattoo people were like, you're not a purist. that's not a real tattoo because you didn't feel the pain. You didn't go through the pain of getting that tattoo. And I feel like an arch install is like
That is a
arch.
fantastic analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah.
Well done to because that is basically the same thing. Like for people who want, like when you say you're using Arch, what I was talking about earlier, when you said you're using Arch, you're implying that you went through the that's the whole point of saying I use Arch, is that I went through the pain, is basically. And I didn't know that the tattoo thing was a thing, but that's kind of hilarious that's now a debated topic. And I don't have any tattoos for those who are curious. And I would not do that either, just because.
By the way, I have 2 half sleeves and my entire back is tattooed. So I went through.
And he did it the numbing way.
15 hours of pain or more on my back and 8 hours on each arm. And I could tell you, if I was offered numbing cream, I would 100% take it. I hate the pain of a tattoo. Like the fact that that's an option to me is awesome. I would totally do it tomorrow. There's no joy. And I know maybe some people like it, but to me, I just want the art at the end of the day.
I feel like there's some element of it. It's like once you go through the process one time and you know what it's like, then you can just do the numbing cream for the rest of the time. That's what I'm
totally.
thinking.
I like it. Yeah, you have to install Arch once manually, and then you use the afterwards. It unlocks a GUI, and then you can just.
That would be awesome. Once you do it for the first time, you get an achievement, and you're like, "Hey, Arch user," and then here's the GUI.
Right. Next time you install it, it'll actually be much faster.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Yeah.
But to go back and answer the question of how could it be the best distro or the biggest or the most used distro, I feel like it can't because of its like fundamental philosophy. I think that what Jill is talking about is how they would do it, as in like they'd have a GUI installer and they would do stuff like, having the updates not require manual intervention. Like that's a very big one because there are times where you have to do, go into the command line and terminal and do things prior to doing an update. And that is not something that most people will want to do. So I feel like that is like some of the pieces that need to come into play. But I also feel like it's just fundamentally can't because of how it's built. It's built for speed. It's built for complete minimalism. And that, not to be simple, by the way, minimalism does not mean simple. It just means the absolute core minimum you would need for the system to run. And that could be good for some people and it could be a problem for others. And I feel like in order for in a way for Arch to do it, they'd have to have 2 completely different systems. One that is tailored for the system they already have, and another one that is tailored for everyday users and having it sitting on top. So I feel like if Arch wanted to do something like this and actually go for a market of a much larger audience, because there is a lot of potential in the fact that Arch has a very good, compelling story about usability of the hardware and performance and all of that. But the bleeding edge is called bleeding for a reason. And if they wanted to go to the everyday user, they need to solve that first. And I feel like if they just kind of copied Valve in creating like not necessarily a mutable, but just something that has like a frozen state that they only do like quick updates. You know how like Debian is constantly being updated, but the stable version is years behind usually. They could do something much faster, but still that same kind of style. And if they were to do, every couple of months, they would just update that one. And then you'd have the rolling continuing to roll on the back end. I think that would be a solid approach to that. Really, I think it's that kind of the only approach, because if you want to go to everyday users.
And I think every Arch person who's a hardcore Arch person is like probably, in a couple different camps here. There's probably some of them thinking it would be cool to see Arch become one of the mainstream distro choices for everyone. Yeah. There are others who are going to say, hey, we already have the solution to that. It's called Manjaro and EndeavorOS and these others, and we don't need Arch to do that. And then there's those that are just going to be the hardcore, by the way, I use Arch folks, and they're not going to want to move anywhere ever. They want to keep everything the same. I just think it's an interesting opportunity because I love Arch. I think what they do is fantastic. But I agree with a lot of things Michael's saying, unfortunately, that when
I
you're
told you.
when you're looking at
Mhm.
your everyday user, if you wanted to expand it past where it is today, and it's still a very popular choice. It's not like it's not in use, but if you want to expand it past that and make it really one of the core mainstream distros people recommend, the stability becomes the big thing, and it can be done. OpenSUSE Tumbleweed is proof that you can have a rolling, stable distro. And they utilize an automated testing platform that's incredible, that would be very helpful
That they also
for
built.
the Arch team to, utilize something like that. Branch off and partner with more hardware vendors using their success with Valve, I think would be a great opportunity. NVIDIA, AMD, Intel. I think there's no doubt in my mind that Xbox is going to release a portable gaming system again. And I believe Sony, PlayStation will follow suit. They went away for a while, but the popularity is just too big there, not for them to take on. So I think sometime next year, we'll probably see something coming out there. So it's an interesting opportunity, right, to partner with some of these vendors and maybe be a choice of an operating system for that. And I know I'll get some crap for this, but you got to leverage AI in the ways that other distros are just sleeping on right now. I think any distro, not just Arch, by the way, that can figure out how to implement AI in a terminal locally and let people build GUIs on top of that easily are going to be very successful in the coming years, because AI is not everything we all wanted it to be, but it's big enough and important enough that everybody's going to want access to it very easily in their system. Yeah. And so I think
It's going to be inevitable that
the distros that utilize it well and create tools for it well are going to be the ones that are successful. ChatGPT has this functionality where you can create your own GPTs, your custom GPTs. And so you can go in there and say, hey, I want a GPT that's an analysis GPT, or I want an artistic GPT or a storytelling one. And then you kind of configure it through prompts of what you want and things. And so, again, I think there's some opportunity with open source AI that we could have some cool stuff available to us in Linux, where you could have custom ones just for your machine. So part of your install process might be customizing your AI before you're done with your install. And I don't know, that just gives me geek chills. I think that would be freaking awesome. Be going through an Ubuntu installer or something else, and you're configuring your AI for your system needs right there. That would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome. I also feel like the AI definitely needs to be included in some way. How that's done is definitely up for debate, but I think it definitely needs to happen. And I feel like a lot of the stuff you're saying is, and like what you're both saying is valid if Arch wanted to do it, but I don't feel like Arch would want to do that.
Probably not.
And I feel like the best option, if something was to happen like this, and we could have Arch in the mainstream family of beginner friendly options, would be for someone to take Arch and build something on top of it that it is beginner friendly. And I know people are going to say like Endeavor, but Endeavor's not really for that. It's more of like an introduction to Arch more so. And many of them are basically like that. And I know people are going to say like Manjaro is that, but that's a thing for weight loss. So I'm not sure what you mean.
Oh my God. The whole setup for that joke there.
Well,
all right.
What's really?
I was also still true.
Yeah.
I still don't think that Manjaro is really in that position. I know they're trying to do that kind of thing, but I feel like in order to
the closest probably of the Arch families of being the most user friendly.
I wouldn't really call it user friendly, but I would say they're probably the closest in the people who are trying it. I just feel like they need a lot of work to actually get to that point. So if someone to come into, I think if there's a big opening space, if someone wanted to fill the void of creating an Arch for beginners that actually legitimately was for beginners, because Manjaro is kind of trying that, but also the delay between when they update for when Arch updates is so much that it is, and also sometimes it's like to the point where other distributions beat Manjaro to updates and that sort of stuff, like Fedora. OpenSUSE is rolling, but Fedora is not necessarily rolling, and it often beats updates. So
it's sad that I'm not a race car driver, right? I don't race cars, but I can appreciate the people who have the talent to race a car. Michael can't use Arch. But he should appreciate the fact that people who know how to install Arch.
I literally helped work on Arch and an Arch derivative.
Yes, you did.
Like, what are you talking about? Just because I don't use Arch now doesn't mean I can't use it.
During the time you helped, did they say something mean about your beard?
I'm just a realist. If there's an issue for people,
Who hurt you?
Well, I mean, Arch hurts people. It's called bleeding edge. That's just. I did have a nightmare scenario with Arch a long time ago, but that's not why I don't think it's good for beginners. That's
still
just
hurt.
That's just it.
Aw. Well,
It
you know
hurt
what?
people.
I found out some great information recently about Arch in an article I read, how it is the second most used distro for the base of new Linux distros. And that's true. We've got lots of Arch-based distros, and now it's, the king has been Debian and Ubuntu for years and years, but now we have Arch kind of trickling
I feel
up.
like mostly Ubuntu. Like Debian is like an indirect base.
Yeah. But yeah, Arch there's lots of Arch distros out there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Arch-based.
cool that we're finally getting to a point where there's more than just an Ubuntu option.
Yeah.
Now, I do think that every Arch-based thing I've tried is still in that same realm of not really beginner-friendly. But I think it's cool because, at some point, maybe there is going to be something like that.
Yeah.
Well, if we go to the official source of the most popular distro, that is the most scientific source we have in the Linux community.
Are you going to say DistroWatch?
DistroWatch.
Yeah.
It's currently Mint.
Linux Mint. Yeah.
You know what's
Endeavor-
crazy? You know what's crazy? We should talk about this just real quick. DistroWatch has someone that is not has a list of ranking. Now, first of all, it's page hit ranking. It has nothing to do with like actual like quality
and
or
it says
anything.
that at the top page.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's to make it clear because they shouldn't even use the word ranking. They should just use the word trending or something. But the fact that they have Mint is a big deal because for those who don't know, it has been MX Linux since 2018.
Yeah.
For the entire time from 2018 to now, it has been always MX Linux. For some reason, they were never pulled down. And then now Mint has taken the crown for the ranking system that doesn't really matter.
Well, Blackware is still number 40 somehow.
Yeah.
In there. So there you go.
Because people want to learn about it, and that's where you go to learn about it.
Very official ranking system there. By the way, before we move on to our gift guide, somehow we spent 48 minutes talking about Arch. I don't know how that happened.
Because you were talking.
Oh, yeah.
That was that's fine.
what happened.
It's like you are with Arch the same way that I am with KDE.
That's true.
And it would be
You are
like
to
me,
Arch,
Debbie.
or you are to
Or
KDE,
Ubuntu.
what I am to whatever, something like that. Anyways, the point is that if you install Arch, right? We have a post right now going on in our Discord, and it's showing off your battle stations. So I need the Arch people to show up because I didn't see near enough Arch battle stations. And by the way, you're going to see, if you're watching the video version, some of those battle stations popping up right now. Some of the coolest battle stations I've ever seen. We had everything from retro battle stations to the most minimalistic battle stations out there. We had people using gaming devices as their full desktop, right? Their full desktop using things like the Steam Deck. Everything out there. So go on our Discord and check out that thread. But I want to see more Arch users out there. We need to show them why Arch is the greatest. And if you can install Arch, by the way, you automatically qualify for Mensa. So that's a fact out there. That's a fact.
Also, I love the fact that you just casually throw Arch, by the way, just in there. Like it's I don't even think you feel like you're doing it on purpose.
I didn't
Like
do it on
because
purpose.
you've said it like 3 or 4 times now, and I feel like you're just doing it as like
I just love it
an
so
instinct.
Much. It's so good.
Das Geek,
So good.
your background needs to be blue for your love of Arch.
Well, they need to
Not
change.
like Jason.
Honestly, they need to change to green because
Yeah.
I love Arch. They need
It's kind of funny because my background is blue, and I mean I like Arch, but it's not my.
You
favorite,
can't install
you know?
it. Trouble with that.
I can install. I can now
Even with the
Arch
installer,
installed.
he gets
Doing-
lost.
No, the new one's easy.
No, he can't figure out how to get past the language selection screen. Like, I don't know what language do I speak?
Yeah, well, the default is English, by the way, on the Arch install, so that's pretty easy. But let's move on to a new topic. Let's talk about the holiday gift guide because
Yes.
the holidays are right around the corner. For those who are longtime
Finally.
listeners of the show, they
Almost
will
true.
enjoy that little jab at Ryan. That means it's time to get those sweet presents. So we're going to help you and your loved ones out this year. So if you are wanting to give someone something, you can also give them this list for them to get stuff for you. And then that's, win-win.
Because if you have someone in your life that gives you a tie all the time, you'd be like, hey, can you listen to this?
They need a little bit of assistance with picking some gifts. So we're going to give you some our picks for like the top tech picks of the year. So we've tried to pick a wide range of things, whether that's the size of the item, the price of the item, and all sorts of stuff. So we have plenty for you to go through, and we're going to have links to everything in the show notes. We're going to do it kind of quickly, like one at a time. One topic from Ryan, or one item from Ryan, one item from Jill, and one item from me, and we're going to do it on a cycle like that. And then you'll find all the links in the show notes. So hopefully we get to everything. We'll see how long this takes.
Did you see Jill's notes? There's no way. Her first item does not take us over an hour.
Well, that's why I made it my first and second item.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so she's cheating by making 1, 2.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
She gets extra time for her item. All right, so my first pick, Michael, is brand new. Like I just got this pick on Black Friday, and I'm absolutely in love with this. So Monster, the company that used to rip us off with cables. You know that company? The one that
I thought it was an energy drink thing.
Yeah, no.
I do remember that Monster cables. It's got gold-plated HDMI. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
That doesn't do anything.
Nobody cared. Yeah. Well, a lot of people cared. Unfortunately, fell for it. But they have come back with open ear headphones, the AC330 wireless earbuds. I think one of the best gifts to give somebody is great music, great sound. We need more music in the world, right? You can even calm a savage beast, they say, Michael. That's what they say. I didn't say that. That's what
Apparently,
they say.
it can calm the savage beast.
Yeah. I picked these up for about $40 on Black Friday, and they regularly go for $130. I would paid $130 for these and still kept them, if that is any indication of.
Did you get the white pair or the black pair?
I got the black pair of these headphones, but I also bought another pair, the white pair, to give away as a gift because I liked them so much.
And because the price of the white pair was super cheap compared to the black pair.
It's interesting, right? Well, the one I think is still on sale and the other's not, but they don't go in your ear. So you're not having something in your ear and you can hear everything around you, including conversation. So if I'm going to work out or I'm actually at work and somebody walks by the desk and says something, I can hear it perfectly while still somehow getting fantastic sound out of these little headphones. And it's not amplifying out to everyone else so they can hear my music either. I don't know what kind of alien technology is in here. They must use Arch in some way, but it's fantastic. It works really well. And they have loops that hook over your ear so they don't fall out when you're working out. I know a lot of people use like the Apple, what are they called, pods and all that type of stuff. All of those things have fallen out of my ear and working out at some point. Like there's no way if there's not a hook, unless the only workout you do is like a sitting workout or maybe a slow treadmill walk. Like if you lay down on a bench or anything else, those other things, they fall out of your ear constantly unless you have a loop that goes over your ear. These have the loop, which is really nice. They sound superb. They're plenty loud enough for a really cool, like gyroscopic carrying case that flips so you can, within a ring to pull them out. It's magnetic. There's no app. You just connect it to your Bluetooth and that's it. No bull crap signing up for a new profile or anything else. It just works. I absolutely dig these things. Check them out. We'll have a link in the show notes.
So,
right,
okay,
Jill.
I was doing a real quick review of your item though, and it looks like that item is not available anymore. However, there's a different model that's similar. So,
how is it not available? They must have sold out.
They might have sold out, but there is a model that's basically the same thing. Which is actually still pretty cheap at like $30. So that's still available. I don't know what the difference is. But it says the AC330 is not available and the AC210 is. So it might be just as good. Who knows?
Check them out. We'll have a link to both. How about that?
Yeah, we'll do both. So Jill, what is your first and second one? Because apparently they're the same.
Yes. So what I'm going to show is an x86 mini inexpensive computer. I have been waiting to tell our Destination Linux viewers about that I picked up earlier this year.
Oh, is this like a treasure hunt, Michael?
It feels like a treasure hunt.
Feels like a treasure hunt.
Feels like an impromptu treasure hunt.
Yes. So this is the HP Elite Desk 705 G4 Mini PC with AMD Ryzen 5 Pro 2400G running at 3.2 gigahertz. It has 4 cores and 8 threads and integrated Vega graphics. And Wi-Fi and audio works perfect out of the box on Linux. And here's the cool thing. You can get one on eBay or Amazon for only $80 to $125, depending on the amount of RAM and size of SSD included. All that Ryzen power and so inexpensive. I actually have
the power is Ryzen, but the price isn't.
Yes. So I actually have 2 of these.
Oh, that's good because you only had 5,000 computers, Jill. So I'm glad you got 2 of these.
Yeah, so I have 2 of them. And I got my first one for only $65 that didn't have an SSD or RAM in it. So I installed a nice 1 terabyte NVMe and 16 gigabytes of RAM in it.
Nice.
And one of my HP Elite Desk Minis I use for Linux distro testing that I've done here for the show. And the other one I use as a nice portable computer to test new monitors and other hardware with. And what's cool is companies are dumping these great little computers in droves. And the used market is flooded. So you can get some really good deals on these. And they originally were actually around $700+ when they came out.
How?
I know. But they had been selling for $280 to $300 used until last spring when the prices came down even further. And this is such a great, it's great for all your low powered Linux computing needs. The HP Elite Desk Mini Ryzen 5 2400G is perfect for light gaming, a retro gaming PC, as a home lab server, as a media center PC, or just as an all-around great second PC to surf the web and do work on. And with a little bit of work, it is a great computer as a Christmas present for a friend, for a family member, friend, or for yourself. Like, I want to buy another one for myself.
Yeah. What's interesting too is because I know sometimes everybody's budget's different and budgets have been really tight, and some of the stuff, even $130, maybe more than you're wanting to spend. I just looked at eBay and there's a bunch of these on eBay for $80 to $90. Some looks like there's a 5% coupon on one of these here on eBay and things. So, and it's $94 or best offer. So consider picking one up if you can't afford to get one new. So consider picking up one used and saving even a little more money there. On Amazon, they're about $108. So you can get down to
so
about
how
90.
powerful would you say this little computer is?
I wouldn't play AAA games on it because
could you play AA games?
Yes, you could play AA games and retro games at 60 frames per second with the onboard iGPU, and but you can even buy a discrete GPU for this machine. A company has made them on eBay, and that's pretty cool. It's
nice.
RX 5600 AMD.
So this seems like it'd be a pretty cool. I mean, I assume you could do an external GPU as well too.
Yes.
And this seems like a pretty cool solution for someone who wants to do like a set-top box as well, like entertainment center.
It's perfect for on top of
entertainment center. Yeah. And what was so cool is one of our awesome viewers in our Discord chat, War Thunder, who submitted pictures of his Battle Station PCs for our new Destination Linux viewer Battle Station segment, was using an HP Elite Desk Mini Ryzen 5 2400G computer in his setup. And then I realized, I've got to show this for Christmas because for our Christmas gift roundup, and I had wanted to anyways. I've been saving this to show everyone because I mean, where else can you get a Ryzen for under $100? you know, and it's also cool is that they also make mini towers and small form factors as well that are a little bigger with a little bigger power supplies. So that's an option too. So yeah,
Does this
I
have
put
HDMI too, Jill?
yeah, yeah. In fact, this one actually the default is DVI, but you can get a little external a little aftermarket output for it that's
So the
HDMI, and
so
I
the
have
answer
that
is
on here.
no. But
Yeah, but you
She
can
said
get
yes,
one.
but no. So
Yeah,
you just need an
it just
adapter.
it
yes, but
depends
no,
on
but you
the
can change it.
yeah.
Yes.
It depends on the configuration. It by default both of these came with two DVIs, but it
Yeah.
has a third port that can be customized to an HDMI or even VGA. In fact, this machine even has VGA on the back for older systems.
Thank
Oh
goodness.
my
I need
goodness.
that
Thank
VGA.
Yeah.
goodness that it has VGA. I was actually worried that it wouldn't have VGA.
That would be a cool. This should be able to stream 4K content with those
Oh,
specs
absolutely.
without any
Easily.
problem. This would be great
Yeah.
streaming.
Oh yeah, it'd be a
box
good.
out
It
there.
could still be a good set-top box. And also, the only issue is that you'd have to do some other thing. Like depending on how the ports work, you'd have to do some kind. If it's like an adapter, that wouldn't
Yeah.
work really well. But because they wouldn't be able to push the sound through, so that they'd have to do something else to push the sound through. But other than that,
you can an HDMI, a DVI to HDMI adapter, as long as it's powered, you can get the audio as well.
oh cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
on those little adapters. I have tons of little adapters and I use them all the time.
I guess I just got the wrong adapters.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Poor Michael. That happens too.
Oh,
Yep.
I'll tell you why. Because Michael goes on adapters on Amazon.com and looks for the cheapest one, and then buys it, and then that's it. It's $1.99. That's the one he's.
That is not. It actually might have happened. This was years ago. It might have been what I did. I don't remember.
Okay, Michael, what's your pick? We're over an hour. I told you Jill would take us over the hour with.
Aw.
I knew this was happening, but it's okay. We have plenty of time because we're going to be a long episode apparently. So I have a few. The first one is actually kind of the timing of this episode. We're so good at timing these. This would have been a great pick for Black Friday, but they go on sale every time, all the time. So if it's a Prime Day, if it's a Black Friday sale, or any sale really, it's going to go on sale. So I'm going to show you this controller right here, and that is the Amazon Luna controller. And the thing about this is that it has the layout of an Xbox controller, and it technically is just an Xbox knockoff controller, but it isn't one of those terrible $30, $20 controllers that are basically trash and break really easily. This is a solid build controller made by Amazon for their Luna service. And normally it's $70, but on every time they go on sale, it goes down to $35. So if you wait to get it during a sale time, or if we had, preemptively done this before the Black Friday, this would be a $35 charge. And $35 for this controller is easily the best controller that I've ever used for that price, because you can get $70, $100 controllers that are better than this one, because they'll have being able to swap out the sticks and stuff like that. But if you want something that's a good controller for a reasonable price, that's this one.
And that's coming from someone who is a pro Oregon Trail player. So he is no joke.
It's been a very long time since I died of dysentery. So
it's one of the best.
But also real quick, this has great support for Linux just out of the box. It works with the Wi-Fi. It works with the just plugging in with the USB-C, and also the audio for the headphone jack also works perfectly with Linux.
Did you say Wi-Fi? Do you mean Bluetooth?
I meant Bluetooth, but yeah. Whatever.
I mean,
technology
cool
sometimes
if
is
it connected
hard.
to Wi-Fi too. Like
that would be cool.
Computer
That'd be cool.
Wi-Fi,
and it has the ability to do batteries for wireless, but you also can just power it with the cord if you use USB-C. And I prefer the weight with no batteries, and I use USB-C because of latency and all that stuff. So it gives you options, like all the important options that you want. And I really like the fact that even the microphone headset stuff works great, like out of the box with Linux.
All right. Well, we're going to have to go a little bit quicker here. So I'm going to throw in real quick. One of my other favorite finds was a Penstar eNote paper notebook. It helps keep me organized with notes and meetings, to-do lists, and travels everywhere with me. It's a distraction-free device that gives you the feeling of writing on actual paper. It has a ton of different, they call them nubs or whatever, choices that you can choose for the stylus. It holds a charge for dang well forever. Like I don't know. I don't remember when I even charge it. It's always on, always seems to have full battery. And it's a lot cheaper than the Remarkable. If you're familiar with the Remarkable, that's considered one of the premium ones out there. This one's about $340. So it's still very expensive. These are I don't know why these e-notebooks are so dang expensive. But that's a lot cheaper than Remarkable, which I think is up there in the $500 and $600 range, which is why I picked this one up. So if you're looking for something that's distraction free to take notes, I find it helps me remember things much better if I'm actually physically writing them. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I use OneNote, I use standard notes and type stuff in. But for me, it really helps solidify things in my brain when I'm actually writing it, and it feels like paper. And this device does that. We'll have a link in the show notes.
I'm very curious and tempted about this thing. I have tried all sorts of stuff. The only thing I haven't tried is a e-ink style tablet sort of thing. I've tried like the actual paper, which is very cheap, but also annoying. And there's the Rocket Book that's just like a thing that you take a scan of and it's supposed to like convert it.
Kind of cool.
That's cool concept, but I did it once or twice and just nope, it's not my thing. So this sounds like a great combination of being able to have that tactile feel, but also still have a digital copy and stuff. So I'm tempted.
And it's got a lot of note templates and things that you can set up for it. So when you're doing new notes, you can make to-do lists, you can do meeting note style. So when you're creating a new note, you have options of different templates and things, and you can add shapes in and circle stuff, all kinds of different cool stuff. So check that one out. Jill, what's your second pick?
Yeah, so every Linux user needs a little text penguin in their life to show off their Linux love. So go grab this little text penguin squishy.
Literally from Jill's house. We'll send you her address. Just go in there and grab a plushie. She's got plenty.
Probably has enough plushies for every person listening, actually.
Yes. This little text squishy is from Amazon, and you can set it on your battle stations for you or your family and your friends. And it is only $6.89 on Amazon and really fast shipping. So I wanted to find something in my collection that you can just get quickly.
Nice.
So I have lots of them.
Nice.
At least 20 of these. I have at least 20 of these Text Penguin squishies here in my room that were given out as swag at the Southern California Linux Expo over the years.
Nice.
And they often have the logos of the Linux loving companies, like this one. Yeah. This is an IBM one, and it's got their on the back.
I have one of those. I have a one I got from Scale a long time ago. That it's a penguin that has a logo on it of Microsoft.
Oh yes, the Microsoft loves
Linux. Fantastic. That one is that. That's the valuable one.
It's like a collector's item, like an Easter egg type thing.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's great.
I have some of companies that are no longer around too.
Very cool pick, Michael. What's your second pick?
My next pick is an adapter for USB A to USB C. I have it here. It's not really. There you go.
Is that a good gift?
It is, because there's a lot of people. No, it's because you get a pack of 4 when you buy this, and when I bought them, they were like $5, so like basically $1 plus for each one. And they're very nice. And what I like the most about it is like I wish it was smaller in terms of the dimensions to the USB port. I don't know how they could do that if they could, but the reason is because when you put this next to it, most laptops don't have that much space, so you're not gonna be able to put 2 back to back. But it is much smaller. So some laptops would be able to do it. Then you get with like those, those adapters you get from like a phone. They used to come. I don't know if they probably don't come anymore, but they used to get like an adapter for that reason. And those were really cool, but they were also super bulky and took up like space of 2 or 3 sometimes. This is very thin and super cheap. So I would say if someone had a need
in your
for
life
it,
needs
very
an adapter.
Helpful.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. But
here, honey, for our 50th anniversary, I got you a 4-pack of USB adapter.
As something that Ryan can't complain about, here's also a MX Master 3 3S or something like that. This is a
Nice.
really cool mouse that has a vertical scroll and a horizontal scroll, as well as buttons right here. And there's also a button on the thumbs stuff right here. And the coolest thing about this is that the battery life of this thing is 2-3 months, depending on how much you use it. Even if you leave it on all the time, it's an incredibly long battery life compared to the Razer that I have that is 72 hours.
Well, that's really cute for you to show that mouse there that made by a company that clearly hates left-handed people. And the fact that you support a company that hates left-handed people like me who can't use a mouse that's curved right like that makes me really sick to my stomach, Michael, that you're that hateful of a person.
I'm sorry that you are left-handed and you can't benefit from this, but it's a good mouse for those who can benefit from this.
Yeah, it's classic mouse. I would love it if they made a smaller one. It doesn't quite fit my hand.
It is kind of a big mouse.
Big.
That is true.
All right, my final pick here. So picks I had were a little pricey. So here's one that's on the cheaper side. This is less than $10, and it is, let me make sure. Okay. It is a wallet magnetized wallet for the back of your phone. And these are really, really awesome. I never forget my phone anywhere I go, but I started having this really bad tendency of forgetting my wallet at home. And not everything you can pay with on your actual phone, if you have your wallet stuff loaded on your phone. So this magnetized wallet attaches to, if you have a magnet case for your Android, or I think Apple has it built in, some phones have it built in, the magnetizer just attaches to the back of your phone. It's super thin and you can pull it off easily too if you don't want to carry it around or get it wet or something if you're about to go to the pool or ocean or whatever. But as you're walking around, you always have your phone on you, and I just keep 3 simple things in it: credit card, ID, insurance card in there, and boom, Bob's your uncle right there, right in the back of your phone.
What if your uncle's not named Bob?
Well, we've already covered that, Michael. I don't even have an uncle named Bob, so I don't know why.
Brian, does it work well with
because you said Bob's your
case?
uncle, not
like a bumper?
Yeah, absolutely. Like
Good.
a lot of these cases, I think.
Yeah.
This is the one that's with the S that's
Ryan.
really popular.
I said Michael.
At least you didn't say Bob.
Yeah,
it snaps really, really hard. Like it's not like simple. You cannot easily get that off. Like,
okay, good. No, it's got a good magnet on it.
I can't even get it off.
Awesome.
It's so incredible. Yeah.
Because
people weren't watching and they just hear me groaning in the mic. Sorry. Let's watch the video version.
Yeah, that's a little awkward. Actually, I have 2 awesome ones that are super tiny things.
Pick one of them.
It's the same theme, so you have to.
Okay.
Now, I don't own this because I just found out it exists today. It's called the Tiny TV 2, and it is a 1-inch
so cute
TV. And you didn't hear wrong. 1 inch, not 100 inches, 1 inch. It is a super small, and it looks like a retro TV that has little knobs that you can play around with, and you can put stuff on this device with a USB-C adapter.
It's adorable. By the way, for with a Barbie dollhouse, my daughter would die to have a little TV in there that actually played TV shows.
And it plays videos. You put whatever video you want with a USB, and it would benefit to have a adapter for a regular USB drive. And then see how I connected those? Boom, got it.
My God.
And it's very cool, and it's got little working knobs, and when you change the channel, it doesn't affect like an old style where it does like a little scanning thing and it shows like channel number of the video that you have. It's awesome.
Adorable.
And how it's ridiculous, but it is also awesome. And what I do have is another thing that's awesome. So we get asked questions about what microphone should I get when I want to start making content. And this is not what I'm going to tell you. This is just a microphone I love because it's the novelty of it. There's plenty of other, we've made content before about what to use.
Pull out the Rocket Band mic. Please don't.
No, that's over there. It's in the set. How dare you? It's a set piece of legacy. This is the microphone I'm talking about.
Oh, look, it's so cute.
It's a little bitty tiny microphone.
You could do your makeup with it in between. It looks like a little makeup brush.
No, that's the filter, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, a little pop filter.
But also look at the design. It's even got like the little grills.
Yeah.
Is
it a microphone for ants?
Yeah, it's super tiny and it's hilarious. And I did take it to a conference and I interviewed people with it, and
Yeah.
it gets a laugh.
Please tell me you weren't wearing a Tux Digital shirt when you did that.
100% was, yes.
Dang it.
Yes.
But also, this is actually a decent microphone, so it can capture audio pretty good. And I wouldn't say it's a great microphone, but it's better
Yeah.
than a headset mic. So it is actually a decent microphone. And if you wanted to do something for the novelty of it, it still will make good content. So,
all right,
check it
enough
out.
about the mic. Now,
And it's actually reasonably priced. The
Great
price
pick.
is also
and
tiny.
you can plug it into the HP Elite desk and get your
There
mini
you
on.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, and
You
if
can-
you drop the mic, you won't like damage anything because it's so tiny.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Some ideas for free. You could write a game or app, even use the help of AI to do so for a
Yeah.
loved one, because not everyone, has the money to spend this Christmas, and the gifts from the heart are better anyways. If you're artistic, make a painting, write a short story, go on a trip to a park, go on an amazing hike or picnic, take them into this thing called nature. Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of dangerous out there. Michael would tell
What
you it's
is-
dangerous. You might scuff your knees.
What
so
is
do
danger?
it.
What is outside?
It's where the sun is, and you get burnt,
Aw.
and it's scary. It's very scary. Another idea is a memory jar. Write down your favorite memories, jokes, or quotes on small slips of paper and place them in a decorated jar. It's a gift of nostalgia and love that you could give to somebody.
Yeah,
Costs you
great.
nothing. Also, this one costs a little bit of materials, but if you have a 3D printer, you can make some really cool things, including like the penguin. So if you have a Linux person in your life, you could print out 3D print a penguin, paint it for them, and they have a custom 3D printed penguin or other thing there. So those are some free gift ideas as well that we want to get out there. Listen, we are so far over that we're going to not be able to go into all of our other sections that we have here for you, but we will
These
get
are the only
to
ones we
them
promised, though. These are the
We'll
only
get
ones
to
we
them.
promised.
live in episode 400. So this stuff will move over to that episode, some of it, the stuff that's actually good enough. We'll move over to 400, and 400 is going to be super special. And thank you for supporting us for 400 episodes. Almost. As long as you support us until next week, you have supported us for 400 episodes. But if you stop now, then you're just a quitter because you stopped at 399. And that's
Don't be a
ridiculous.
quitter. Don't disappoint Jill. Don't be a quitter.
Yeah. All right. So a big thank you to each and every one of you for supporting us by watching or listening to Destination Linux. However you do it, we love your faces. Our earlier comment said they love our faces, but we love your faces too.
I wonder where they got that from. Is that something you copied from them, or they copied from you, or is it just like parallel thinking?
We'll never know. We'll never know. These are the mysteries. By the way, this is our second time. This is our second time recording the ending, because the first time, Michael, who was irresponsible and did a distro hop before the show started, messed up his audio. So now we have to record.
Ryan is actually trying to pretend that it wasn't his fault, even though he was the one who did the extreme distro hop and already admitted in this episode that it was him. So I don't know why he's trying to throw it on me. It was him, and he at some point his video messed up, and we have to record an outro again. Thank you, Ryan.
I'm very impressed, because I thought you had a goldfish brain and you wouldn't have remembered that I covered it earlier in the episode. But look at that. You're making improvement.
When it comes to defending my honor, I will remember.
All right. So come join us on our Discord at tuxdigital.com/Discord. By the way, you're going to want to be there, because that's where all the action is going to be happening for episode 400. And you're going to want to be there for 400. If you've only made it to 399 and then you quit, that would be stupid and ridiculous. Like,
why would you quit that close?
Yeah, don't quit yet. Even if we said something in this episode that offended you terribly, just at least make it to 400. Like, you're like, man, I just can't believe Michael hates Arch like he does just because he can't install it. Fair point. But at least join us on 400, and it's going to be
I've
huge
installed Arch, by the way.
episode by there. And if you want to support the show, Michael, how do they support this fantastic, incredible show and become part of the AI patronship that's live?
That helped us very much in this particular episode.
Very much.
They can do that by going to tuxdigital.com/membership. You get access to the patron-only section of our Discord server. You get access to the patron-only post show that happens every week after the show. And you get an extra special bonus of multiple outros, because they got to hear the first one that you don't get to hear.
One.
Yeah.
The first one was so good, by the way. We were so funny.
I know.
that Comedy Central contacted us and asked us for the clip, but unfortunately we lost the video, so we can't send it to them.
It was so funny that they asked us, like 2 different networks asked for something that they would never no ability to ever see because we don't have the ability to give it to them. Anyway, you can go to tuxedo.com/membership to get access to all of this stuff, including the unwatchable retro outro stuff.
It was good, people.
And become a part of the AI model for our patronship. Tuxedo.com/membership. You can also support the show by going to tuxedo.com/store. You get a bunch of cool swag. We got t-shirts.
Why did we not cover this?
Because we are not great at marketing our store.
Okay. So here's the deal. Forget about everything we covered in the gift guide. You just need to go to the tuxdigital.com/store. And that's what you get every gift, your cousins, your nephews, kids, everything. Get it from the tuxdigital.com/store, and everyone's going to be happy. If they don't listen to Destination Linux and you get them all that swag, they'll start listening to Destination Linux and be like, oh my God, I'm so happy you got me swag. This is a reenactment of what will literally happen. Oh my gosh, you're the best.
You're doing a reenactment for the future. I love it.
Yeah. That's what's going to happen. If you go to the store now, there's also, because Michael did his extreme distro hop before the show and really messed things up, what we're going to do, we're going to make it right for you guys. We're going to put a discount, Michael, on the store that's going to run like a Black Friday sale, but not Black Friday. It's a DL Friday. A DL Friday. No,
I like it.
Open source Friday. So our open source Friday.
What's the coupon code going to be? Ryan's fault?
That would be hilarious. Can we make it Ryan's fault? Can we do that? Can we make
we can do that. Absolutely.
Okay. The code will be Ryan's fault on checkout, and you will get a amazing discount. So if you missed Black Friday, don't worry about it. We got you covered here in the open source world. It's what we do.
Yeah.
It's what we do.
Yeah, that's actually because we forgot Black Friday to cover it before the gift guide before Black Friday.
Shut up, now Michael. Why are you telling people the secret? We're helping them.
Oh, well, we're making up for the fact that so you go to tuxedo.com/store and you get a bunch of swag, and remember the coupon code of Ryan's fault to get that sweet swag at a sweet discount.
There we go. And make sure to check out all the amazing shows here on Tux Digital. That's right. We have an entire network of shows to fill your whole week with geeky goodness. Head to tuxdigital.com to keep those Linux penguins marching. And speaking of privacy and everything that we actually didn't talk about this week.
You know what? We always cover privacy because we didn't get to it because Michael messed up his video. We had privacy topics to cover, but because Michael's video messed up, we don't have time to
show we got.
Go ahead.
It's okay.
Yeah, not only did he distro hop to Arch. Come on, man.
And, speaking of privacy that we talk about in every episode of Destination Linux, check out Ryan's latest excellent video on his DOS Geek YouTube channel where he talks about how it's never too late to start protecting your privacy, and he gives you 5 simple steps you can implement in under 20 minutes to enhance your privacy and safeguard your personal data from prying eyes.
That's amazing.
So it's actually a pretty good video. Normally,
that's high compliments from you. That's 5 stars.
I would tell Ryan. I tell you anything Ryan does is terrible. I would normally do that, but I did watch it. It's pretty good.
Out of 10, what would you give it? Like out of 10?
I mean, pretty good, man. How about like a 3.2?
That's fantastic. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Hey, Michael, without reading the text, do the closing.
I don't need to read it. We've done it so many times. I don't need to read this thing, man. Come on. Come on.
Go ahead.
All right. So everybody have a great week. And remember that the journey itself is just as important as the destination. No, and I did not get it wrong.
You missed a pause there.
I didn't get it wrong at all because I read it as it was,
There you go.
And Ryan, it's official. Michael is the highest on the naughty list.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Why?
Because you distro hopped before the show.
You
Michael.
distro hopped it. So technically, it should be that Ryan.
No.
Just because I gave him a 3.2 does not mean that I'm the naughty. He extreme distro hopped and destroyed the outro. So really,
it's true.
It's got to be Ryan.
If you think about it, I didn't give Michael
think you're right,
a score
Michael.
for his
Yeah.
latest video, so it's fair.
What's the score for my latest video, Ryan?
Oh, that's really interesting that you asked.
Oh, it's a great one.
It's like you know when they remade Star Wars, and
that is so insulting. We're ending the show right here.
You know when they remade Star Wars and everyone hated it until Disney came and then remade Star Wars again with the new ones, and they were even worse. That's kind of like your video. I've seen worse. You know what I mean? Like,
no, Ryan, I'm sorry. You're at the top of the naughty list. That was not nice.
I've seen worse.
I've seen.
All right. For those who want to see worse, feel free to become a patron.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Dad, check out our individual YouTube channels where you get more of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also be sure to remember that coupon code Ryan's fault because he extreme distro hopped. And also be sure to join us for the 400th episode. That is
Everyone
live
gets to watch.
streaming on December 11th. Be there or be square.
Knew it, man.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
Bye.
It's
It's patrons
bye.
time now. Get out of here. Bye.